I got the moves. I got the moves. Oh, I'm making moves. You gotta move. You gotta make the city move. Like, whoa. I make the city move. I got the move.
Number 8. The Portland Trail Blazers. Damian Lillard and the Blazers want to come out fighting this season, and I'm sure they will. I'm just not sure it's gonna last. The Blazers made barely any moves over the offseason. In fact, I think they got worse. They lost Alan Crabb, who was a good bench player that helped the team out plenty. They got Zach Collins in the draft, who really disappointed with 6.3 points and 5.7 rebounds in the Summer League. He had great defense though, with 2 steals and 2 blocks in each game. The only way I see Portland improving and going up a couple of seeds from this is if Damian Lillard has an MVP year, and let's be honest here, I do think he can, but realistically, it is very hard for him to do it. CJ McCollum just needs to continue what he's doing. I have nothing against him. I think the Portland Trail Blazers will win 41 games next season. Number 7. The Los Angeles Clippers. The LA Clippers had a seemingly rough offseason after losing star Chris Paul to the Rockets. I do believe though that the Clippers did have a successful offseason in some way. The Clippers picked up some above average players like Lou Williams, Patrick Beverley, Danilo Gallinari, and Milo Teodosic. Lou Williams is an amazing pickup by the Clippers. The man can give 15 points a game and can take the load off the starting point guard. Lou Williams was a 6th Man of the Year candidate last year and could be again if he puts up similar numbers. With Jamal Crawford gone, Lou Williams is a big upgrade as Jamal Crawford is currently 37 years old whilst Williams is 30, 7 years younger. The energy Lou can give you will be much higher than Crawford, and that's something the Clippers need right now. Patrick Beverley is an extremely talented defender for his position and has locked down superstar players like Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook. Yeah, he isn't as good as CP3, but he is definitely better than getting Patty Mills or someone like that instead. Beverley can put up 10 points for you a game and steal the ball 1.5 times a night, which for a bench player is great. Next is Danilo Gallinari. The Clippers have been missing an all-star caliber small forward for a while now, and Gallinari is the guy that they have been waiting for. Gallinari is extremely underrated as his numbers skyrocketed after the all-star break, averaging 20 points or more per night. Next up was the Milo Teodosic signing. Milo is apparently one of the best players in EuroLeague history, and luckily the Clippers were able to sign him. Milo looks like a European John Stockton and is an extremely underrated Rookie of the Year candidate. Also came the re-signing of all-star power forward Blake Griffin. He is now the star on the team and hopefully he can lead them to a playoff spot. But the Clippers are this low because there are simply other teams better than the Clippers, which you will hear about soon. The Clippers are still a great team and all, but they did get worse this offseason, no doubt. I predict the Clippers will win 42 to 44 games next season. Number 6. The Denver Nuggets. I feel like the Nuggets can be the biggest underdog team next season and take a lot of teams by surprise. The Nuggets upgraded their roster heaps this offseason after signing all-star Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap will make an amazing duo with Nikola Jokic. Paul Millsap averaged a career-high 18 points last season, 7.7 rebounds and 3.7 assists, and had a 17.8 PER. On the Nuggets, I would expect these numbers to maybe even grow more or stay around the same, but his contribution to the team will still be very important. Nikola Jokic averaged his career high of 16.7 points, 9.8 rebounds and 5 assists last season, and nearly won Most Improved Player. Nikola is an all-star worthy player and might be the best passing big man currently in the NBA. These two, as I said earlier, would be a superstar duo and could help the Nuggets have one of the best offenses in the league, maybe even number 1. I predict the Nuggets will win about 43 to 45 games next season. Number 5. The Minnesota Timberwolves. I predict this team will take the biggest leap this season because of them trading for Jimmy Butler. The Minnesota Timberwolves are known as a future dynasty ready to take a big leap, but Jimmy Butler is going to help them push them over the edge. I put them this low because in one season I can't see this team gelling straight away. I reckon it will take a month or two, but this team will definitely be competing for a title next year. But we can't forget about Karl-Anthony Towns, maybe the best center in the league. You know, scrap that, he is the best center in the league, and this is crazy. We know Cat as the best center in the league, and he has only been around for 2 seasons. He averaged 25 points and 12 rebounds last season. The man is an absolute beast. The Wolves didn't stop after the Butler trade though. They went out and got even more players to stack up their roster, and these players are not trash. They acquired possibly the greatest sixth man of all time in Jamal Crawford, got underrated player Jeff Teague, and got amazing role player Taj Gibson. The Timberwolves roster right now is fire, but they will take some time to gel and become that super team everyone expects them to become. I predict the Timberwolves will win 47 to 50 games next season. Number 4, the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs are an extremely consistent team, and I expect them to keep up that consistency, but I do expect them to drop off a bit. This offseason, the Spurs were the frontrunners for many point guards like Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry, but somehow didn't sign any one of them and only got Rudy Gay. They barely improved over the offseason when many of the teams around them did. A good thing for this team is Kawhi Leonard. He should be the frontrunner for this year's MVP award, as Harden and Westbrook and other stars who were in the running got extra stars surrounding them. Harden got CP3 and Westbrook got Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. Kawhi's stats should improve as they always do. But the Spurs last season won an enormous 61 games, but that was a fluke. LaMarcus Aldridge and Pau Gasol and Tony Parker were not playing up to usual standards, or they were injured, so they were lucky players like Jonathan Simmons and DeJounte Murray stood up. But I can't see that happening again this season unless Kawhi does something absolutely insane. So my apologies to Spurs fans, but the Spurs are not good enough to go all the way this season simply because they didn't improve over the offseason and other teams around them did. I can see the Spurs winning around 50 to 55 games next season. Number 3, the Houston Rockets. The Rockets made one of the craziest moves this offseason by trading and signing Chris Paul. Though I disagree with this trade because it got rid of half the Rockets team and we lost all our depth, I still think it will help. We have seen footage of the two playing together in pickup games and dominating, and they have gelled really well this preseason, so I see no reason why these two can't transfer that chemistry into the regular season. The Chris Paul trade helps take a lot of weight off Harden's shoulders, as Chris Paul should run the offense. I do believe that Harden will be the primary scorer, and Chris Paul's assists will go up to maybe 11 or 12, but his points will drop to maybe 17 or 18 points per game. His defense will also help the Rockets a lot, as the Rockets are notoriously known for being terrible on that end, so CP3 will surely help, and this could lead to extra wins. Harden, on the other hand, will destroy teams with his offense, and the rest of the Rockets squad shall follow. This team was the second best offensive squad in the league last year, only behind Golden State, and that trend will definitely continue. I predict Harden will average 25 points per game with 7 or 8 assists. Though the CP3 trade did get rid of a lot of the Rockets players, a lot of key ones still remain. Sixth Man of the Year candidate Eric Gordon is still there, Ryan Anderson is still around with his great offensive ability, Clint Capella is still there, a most improved player candidate, and the Rockets also brought in PJ Tucker and Luke Mbah-a-Moute. All in all, this Rockets team will have an overpowering offense that will be extremely hard to deal with and will scare a lot of teams. The Rockets did improve this offseason and will go into this season ready to contend. I predict the Rockets will win 53 to 58 games next. Number 2, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The biggest winners of this offseason, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's go over why they are the biggest winners first. In the race for Paul George, OKC somehow won. All they offered was Victor Oladipo and Sabonis, and somehow the Pacers decided to take up that offer. That was a major W and finesse by the Thunder. Then OKC won another trade race for another star. Carmelo Anthony was traded to the Thunder for Enes Kanter and Doug McDermott, as well as a second round pick. New York got finessed and OKC got Carmelo for a can of Pringles and Diet Coke. These moves were all part of the plan to get Westbrook happy. He had been pushing off the extension on his contract for a while and was thought to test free agency, but after making these two brilliant moves, Westbrook signed a 5-year, $205 million max contract, which would keep him on the team for the rest of his prime. Who knows if he made the worst decision of his career or if he made the best, but for OKC, it was amazing and they certainly won the offseason by far. But on to the team for next season. The big three in OKC is amazing, but a big question is, how is it going to work? All three players are ball dominant stars, they all want the ball in their hands. There will definitely be issues over who should take the last shot, who should carry the ball up the court, all of that, and I'm mainly seeing this issue happening with Carmelo and Westbrook. Carmelo loves going into ISO and not passing the ball around in the final moments. For Westbrook, yes, he does take a lot of the final shots, but he usually runs plays that will get him the ball for an open jumper. I do think OKC will work everything out and they'll become a superstar team. It'll just take a little while to click. But once that happens, I guarantee you this team will be running up the standings and closing in on the Warriors. This team could definitely take Golden State to 7 games if you think about it. There are other players who play big roles in this team too. Steven Adams needs to step up and the bench is super weak, so hopefully the bench balls out in every game. There are more I'd say, but you can just go check out my video on the Carmelo trade for a more in-depth analysis. I project that the OKC Thunder will win 57 to 61 games next season, depending on how fast the team clicks together. Number 1. The Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors made no noise this offseason, so everyone pretty much forgot about them. Golden State actually somehow improved this offseason though. They kept Stephen Curry, KD, Andre Iguodala and JaVale McGee, and then signed Nick Young, Omri Caspi, and bought maybe the biggest deal in the NBA draft, Jordan Bell. So while every team tried to get better to compete with the 2017 Warriors roster, the Warriors made their 2018 roster so much harder to compete with. It's hard to say anything about the Warriors, we all know what they can do. What I'm hoping is that KD leaves next year in free agency for another team because the NBA would be amazing if that happened. And that will wrap up the Western Conference standings. The Eastern Conference standings will be out during the week, probably Tuesday and Wednesday. I have another video out tomorrow because I am going on a 3-day straight daily grind. Let me know what you think of these predictions in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe and get ready for those Eastern Conference standings. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I am out. Peace.